piece I've dyed that I haven't sewn up yet.
And it looks like silk.
Yeah, and then yes, this is a pair that I was given in San Francisco.
Oh my God, those colours would be so insane
And
under
you can see the
UV.
weights in them.
It's quite psychedelic, the colours,
Yeah.
aren't they? They're quite...
And so you can imagine then under UV light.
Yeah, and being tossed around, and What's the history of flagging? Where did it come from?
During COVID, sorry, jumping around the place.
Yeah.
During COVID, we got to spend every week together. All the flaggers around the world had a Zoom session every week.
Now that was the Flagging Virtual Studio.
Flagging Virtual Studio, yes. And so during that time, every week there would be a lesson or a talk, and we would get to hear different stories. And so I learnt a lot about the history of flagging during those talks. It goes right back to the 70s when gay men wore leather and danced with fans. And like really
so it's not just
me
fans. That dances with fans.
And this was
the
real proper twirling leather men.
Better than that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's surprising it comes out of the leather community as well.
Yes. It would seem then that the bar boys would get out from behind the bar and swing the bar towels around is the earliest mention I've heard of it.
Right.
Which then developed into flagging. And there was a distinct difference from what I can gather between the East Coast and West Coast of America.
Oh.
On the East Coast in New York, they called it fanning still, but you had spines or rags. So spines were the fans as we would know it, and rags were without it. Whereas on the West Coast, they called it flagging.
Wow.
So then it got handed. It was kind of secret gay men's business for a while. You know, you had to be quite friendly with your daddy for him to pass on some flags. But then as that era started to literally die out, an effort was made to pass it on. And one of the other people that back at this party in Palm Springs in 1997 was a guy called Xavier Kaylor. And he went on to spearhead a revival of flagging in San Francisco through their tradition, which is based around the AIDS Memorial Grove in Golden Gate Park. And they have a regular flagging in the park there. And that is a big anchor for the West Coast community.
Wow. That's amazing. It's got such a rich history. Like, I've seen you do some sensational shows and I've seen you go many places, but you don't realise just how far back the history of it goes.
Yes. And interestingly, Xavier talks about Loie Fuller. So Loie Fuller was a dancer in the early 1900s. That danced around with giant bits of silk and developed all these amazing lighting techniques. She was quite a pioneer of modern dance, and she was part of the community.
The original flagger.
Yep.
Wow.
She was a friend of Dorothy's right back in the day.
Dorothy is such a friendly girl.
We've loved twirling silk for a long time. We have.
It's so lovely. It's such a beautiful thing to watch. Like, especially like when it's under UV lights, but just it actually at any time in the sunlight, it's just so pretty to watch them whirling around. And if there's a big group of flaggers, I just find it so gorgeous, so gorgeous.
I mentioned I made 32 pairs to take.
Yes.
So on the day, because we went for flagging in the park at the end of July, and so they have a big DJ. And there was a certain point where they played a particular song, Love Is in the Air.
Oh.
Yes.
Look out.
Look out, exactly. And they all got up with my flags out into the grove, and my artwork got spread across the National AIDS Memorial Grove.
Oh my God. I would have been sobbing.
I was, yes.
What a beautiful moment. Now, you've chosen a song to play tonight. Is this one you like to flag to?
Yes. We have a DJ that plays for us for the Virtual Flagging Studio, Michael Rackley. And yes, I tagged him on this song once, and love flagging with this one. Nice upbeat, energetic energy.
Let's hear it. If you've got a flag, get it out and have a twirl.
That's it.
This is Sophie Ellis Baxter, Hypnotized. Cool.
Suggested that we get together and just have an online Zoom, and the DJ Michael Rackley that would often play for their live studio sessions agreed to play, and it went really well, and so they decided to do it again the next week, and again the week after that, and they just kept going, and they followed their normal format, which was to have a bit of a lesson or a talk, and then a free flagging session, and then they have a little showcase at the end where everyone would stop and watch one or two flaggers present, and then a closing song, and then that was it. So it was Friday lunchtime here in Australia. So every Friday lunchtime for 2 years, I would hang out with all the flaggers. 2
years, we forget how long it was.
It went a long time.
It went a long time. And that's really a long time to get to know some people too, I imagine.
Yeah, it was. And to hear a lot of stories too. And gay history is not always told. And the small stories aren't always told.
Correct.
And so just to hear the different stories of gay men and how they moved to San Francisco or wherever they moved to, and how flagging came into their lives. We even had some people join us from Brazil. There's a few cities in Brazil with flagging communities.
Oh.
And some beautiful coming out stories, and stories of young gay men finding love and acceptance within the flagging community.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you're a friendly bunch. I mean, I've worked with your flagging groups a couple of times in a professional capacity.
Yeah, friendly's one way to describe us.
No, it's nice.
A bit raucous sometimes.
Oh, but friendly. But friendly,
yes.
Because, Sydney can be very quickie, and I did not ever find that with the flagging people, and I never have.
I've always found it to be an incredibly beautiful, welcoming community. They see you with a set of silks in your hand, and they'll come over and say hello. Yeah,
and people get excited when they see it because it looks beautiful. But I mean, I'm not game to try it because I'm notoriously, for someone that's a dancer. I can ribbon dance, but I can't throw things around. My hand-eye is, I don't even know how I get through life. So I imagine it's not easy. Is it an easy skill to do?
Yeah, a lot depends on what you want to get out of it and what levels you want to take it to.
Well, like some of the tricks that you do, like that looks like a little helicopter.
Yeah, so, that is my dance background. I have cheated majorly to have an advantage in that way.
Well, that's not cheating, that's just being clever.
Yeah, and I've been doing it since 1997.
Right.
But there are some people that pick it up and just find their way with it straight away.
Yeah.
Some people pick it up and they fight with it, and they can't, it takes them a while to sort of settle into it.
Yeah, I imagine that it would, because it's you're sort of working with weights, so you've got it's like reversing with a trailer. Yeah,
it's part prop manipulation.
Yeah.
And it's part artistry.
Right. So with the Flagging Virtual Studio, can anybody log in and watch that?
Yes, anybody can.
Oh.
It is a Zoom, so it still continues to this day. The first Friday of each month.
Yep.
That's Friday our time.
Yep.
If you go to Facebook, you can just look for Flagging Virtual Studio and request to join that, and usually links to the Zoom. Because
I've got to say, it's a tremendous show when they do the little showcase at the end, and people put so much effort in. There's a UV lighting, and the whole room is set up, or there's some sort of spectacular background.
We were bored. The
but
difference
even now,
between the beginning of lockdown and the end of lockdown, people got so many lights and backdrops and flashing things.
Do they do it from their homes?
Yeah, so we're all in our lounge room.
It's amazing.
That's great.
It's
all totally tricked out the lounge room with new lighting rigs and
and people it looks like a huge
curtains.
Wow.
It looks like a huge dance party, and it's just like one or two people in the lounge doing their stuff, and it's just it's a magical show to watch. and it's on the interwebs for free.
Yes, and watchers, newbies, experienced people.
Yeah.
We also become fan dancers and hoopers.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So if
Okay.
someone was interested in getting involved, it's a good place to start.
Yeah, so there's a Sydney Flaggers Facebook group, which since I've been involved with the Virtual Flagging Studio hasn't been particularly active. There's the Virtual Flagging Studio page. The biggest Facebook group would probably be Flagging in the Park in San Francisco, from where you can find lots of other flagging resources.
Wow. And so tell us about what's your favourite show been for flagging? Have you had a favourite or a favourite place that you've performed? Like, has there been one that, you know, for me, my favourite show is the Shaka Khan show. I was in a show with Shaka Khan many years ago. I lost my shit. That was like, I went up the mountain on that one. So there must be one for you. So many.
So many. It's hard to think. There was Macy Gray in Hong Kong. Got flown over to Hong Kong to do a banking corporate gig.
Yeah.
Wow.
For Asian bankers.
Yeah.
Asian audience are quite polite.
Yeah.
They're enjoying themselves, but they're very polite.
Yeah.
And so I was there with a whole bunch of carny folk, stilt walkers, twirlers.
Carny folks. Small hands.
Small hands. And so we were having a rather lovely time dancing away in the corner.
Yeah.
And Macy kept drifting over because we were the excited little thing going on in the corner.
You're the
and
fun
she's
people.
Like, oh no, you're the help. Need to go back over to perform for the people I'm here to perform for.
Oh no.
Who were like having a wonderful time, but not waving and jumping up and down.
Not getting into the groove.
She kept drifting backwards and forwards. It was quite funny. That was good fun. And they picked me up in a limo with my name on a sign and everything.
Oh, I love those.
It was très glamorous.
Oh, I love it. And what is up next for you? So we can have a look at the Flagging Virtual Studio on Facebook, and you're always fabulous. We've heard about your favourite flags, or your favourite moment in flagging. But what is up next for you?
Well, it was to be the parade next year, but we didn't get in.
What?
Yes, I know. No one on the committee must know who we are anymore. Don't they know who I
Oh
used to
Oh my
be?
God.
I know, we didn't get in.
I'm going to be having some words about
Well,
that.
look, if anybody knows, like I can send extra, support video.
Mama Shell, expect my phone call.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lots of entries, very big.
but
So the next
you're
thing,
so community.
yeah, we're
And
so
pretty,
glamorous.
and you're pretty.
Pretty.
No.
And it's a non-offensive flow. Like, it's
I
PG.
know,
They can put that on the
yeah.
ABC.
Exactly.
Oh, wow, that's really freaky. Well, I think there is another thing that might be coming up, and I think we might be able to see you doing some sort of spectacular
Oh yes, of course.
at the
picnic.
Parramatta Pride picnic.
Exactly.
Is that still a thing?
Yeah,
22nd of October.
it is the 22nd of October, and you will
And
be
so
able to
is
see.
that a Saturday or a Sunday?
That is a Saturday, and it starts at 10:30, but the shows will be from 12. It runs till about 6, and then there's a tea dance at Club Para from 7 p.m. till midnight, which will be absolutely fabulous. But if you want to check Mr. Benedict Leslie doing his magical flagging, get along to the Parramatta Pride picnic on the 22nd, because he will be featured there in one of his show-stopping numbers, perhaps even more if I can torment him into doing some more stuff for me. But Benedict, we've got to wrap it up there. But we'd love to have you back at another time to talk about some dance background, because you have a rich tapestry of dance history as well. But I'd just like to thank you for tonight and explaining flagging to everyone.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Benedict.
Thank you.
We really have to wrap it up. We've got 20 seconds left.
Oh.
So catch us at Facebook page.
Yes,
Gaywaves
gaywaves@2ser.com if you want to give us
is
an
our email address.
Gaywaves Twitter.
Twitter.
Don't forget the Twitter.
Instagram,
YouTube.
and
We're all over the shop, and we'll see you next week.
see you later. If
Yeah.
you can't be good, be good at it.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.